I was like, oh, I just put, so hi, thank you all for coming. I want to just say that this is a workshop that we developed, I guess, almost 10 years ago. For those who don't know me, sorry. I am Christine Wiedenmyer. I'm the Associate Director of Science for CIRES. And I've had this position for almost 4 years now, next month. And before that, I was a research scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder for 16 plus years. So I do research on air quality and fires and other sources of pollution. So I'm also one of the founding members and on the board of directors for the Earth Science Women's Network. We're now a nonprofit, and our mission really is to promote and retain women in the earth sciences. And we started the organization just because we were all like grad students and postdocs, and we didn't have a lot of women in our groups to talk to, and so we started building our own network, and we actually started discussion boards so that we could have conversations. And then we started saying, well, we didn't, we want all these other skill sets that we don't get as grad students, and they don't automatically teach us. So we actually developed our own workshops and trainings so that we could get them ourselves. And this activity or workshop today is one of the things that we developed, and it was actually in coordination with Carrie Rockamore, who started the National Faculty Development, like NFCDD. I can send you all a link. For those of you at the University of Colorado, we have an institutional membership to her organization, and you can use the resources on it. You just go up and sign up for free, but it's really great for helping you kind of keep on task. It's geared towards faculty, but I found as a research scientist, it's really been a really valuable kind of resource. Thank you, Beck, and it's in the chat. And but like there's some really great tools, networking resources to help you like achieve success in research and faculty positions. You might want to check it out. But one of the things that kind of came out even like 10, 15 years ago is Virginia Vallon talked about like building, like everyone needs more than one mentor. You just don't have one mentor. You have the need for support in all sorts of ways. And so we built this workshop on how to be proactive and how to really take ownership of your own mentorship, because no one's going to look out for you the way you can look out for you. So I'll go through the slides. I invite anyone to chime in, talk, speak up, put in the chat. I'll have the chat open. So stop me, because once I start doing the slides, like it's hard for me to see you, I guess. So yeah, just shut me up or whatever. Let me see if I can share my screen. One of our former board members, can you see that slide? Is that good? Miriam Glesmer, she's in Scandinavia, I forget which country, but she formatted some of these slides really well. And actually on her website, she has this whole workshop too. I'm happy to share these slides. I'm happy, and Beck has some handouts, and I'm happy to send them to you too, just afterwards. If you want like printouts of some of these things, I'm happy to share them. But and we did get this published in an AGU transcript as well. So so pretty much in this workshop, we're going to talk about like ways that people can support you, ways that you need mentorship in your life, and then how to really identify like and build your own map, and then talk about ways in which you can go out and fill the gaps that you have, and really be strategic about building your network and reaching out. So let's see. So first and foremost, I don't know if everyone has a piece of paper, but I recommend grabbing a piece of paper and a pen if you can, or take some notes on your computer. But what I want you to take a moment to do right now is think about what is support. Like when you think about what is support, what is a mentor, what is, people in your network, what does that look like? What kind of needs might you need? And then think about who in your life currently supports you, who provides you mentorship, who is someone that you are, and this could be one person, this could be 20 people. Who do you have right now? Sorry, I'm just changing that. So who do you have? And write those people down. Just take some quick notes right now and write some people down. It doesn't have to be comprehensive, but just take a moment to think about the people who support you now. And then we'll get into it for a second. I'm sorry, I went running and it's smoky and I'm so.
Hi, Christine, it's Arena. When you're saying write the names of people who support you in all different kind of ways, or just like
any way you can think of. Okay. This is wide open. So, and this is just about, this is not just a professional, this is personal. This is like holistically thinking about your life, right? Because whether we like it or not, our professional and our personal lives get intertwined, and yeah. And I think that's the way we should be thinking about support and networking and mentoring, is it's not just one thing. So, and that'll bring me to my next slide, and you can keep on writing, is there's a whole bunch of different ways that people can support you, right? And these are just the components that we came up with for this workshop. You might have a whole lot of other different ways, but and then there's all different kinds of people who might fill those roles. And so what we're going to do next is go through each of these different roles, talk about what they look like, and then we'll talk about how to fill those roles, or how to identify people in those roles. So first we'll go look at sponsorship. And so sponsors are people who will advocate for you behind closed doors, who will think of you if, a promotion opportunity comes up, or if there's a field study that you want to join in, or, maybe like there's a project that's coming up, like you would be a good person to contribute or to lead it. Yeah, so this is someone who's really like advocating for you, out in the world, out in your community, out, in your job. So again, we'll talk more about that, but that's what a sponsor is. And then there are people and organizations even that give you access to opportunities. So you can think of like jobs boards maybe, or people who know about upcoming workshops or professional development activities or opportunities, summer schools, people who know about potential funding, these are typically people who in the know, or organizations, or even jobs lists, media, speaking opportunities, etc., awards. So people who know about opportunities out there. And then accountability. This is way someone can support you through holding you accountable for the things that you want to do. They will check in with you. They will make sure that you're, on track. I use this all over in my life. I am a complete people pleaser. So if I know that someone's checking in on me, I want to please them. And so I ask people to hold me accountable all over the place. Okay, and then there's role models. Role models are people who have behaviors or something that you really want to emulate, or that you really admire. And this could be anything. This could be like, oh, I really like the way that person makes figures for their talks. Or I really like the way that that person teaches a class, or that person has amazing work-life balance. How do they, I want to emulate that, right? Or that person is a really good hiker and they do awesome hikes. I want to do that. So it could be really anything, but these are, people that have behaviors or skills or things in their life that you want to emulate. Then we have this safe space. These are people who you can kind of vent to and completely trust, right? This is a trusted person that you can just go off on, that you can complain to, that you can, help you deal with certain issues or complications, or, could potentially mediate on your behalf, or really just, that you can dump on, like, oh, my partner is driving me crazy today, or, oh, like my scientific collaborations, I'm gonna, or I'm just like, I can't get my model running. Anything and everything. But these are people that you can just complain to without worry and know that they'll be there to just listen and support you. This is a bit different than, I'm going to skip over one right now, than emotional support. You can think of people that you can share your feelings with, can help you deal with stress, like be your emotional support. And so there is some difference and a lot of overlap between the safe space and the emotional support, but you can separate them and look at them slightly differently. In between this, we have this intellectual community. So this is like your scientific community that you can bounce ideas off of, talk about like, oh, how do I get this code implemented? I'm going to go to this conference, I want to present, like, so you can think of these are your intellectual partners, your other people in the scientific community, getting feedback on your different components of your projects, people you can share your ideas with, asked to have a paper reviewed, get ideas about proposals, etc. And then there's people who can provide you opportunities to professional development, right? To help you gain skills so that you can be more successful professionally, and these could be skills, anything from like learning a new programming language to communication skills and learning how to, be a better speaker or be a better writer, or, anything, personal management, time management, leadership skills, management skills, how to write a good proposal. These are all ways that people can help you with professional development. And then the last one is the substantive feedback. This is more of like your traditional, like classic mentoring relationship where you can ask people like, someone who might be more senior to you and can provide feedback on your career trajectory, or, what is best for, my next stages. So this is more of like what I think of as like the classic mentoring relationship. In CIRES, we have a mentoring program where they match you with someone, and that's, for specific reasons, or, oh, thanks, Beck. Beck just put Miriam's link in the chat, so you can download her slides as well. But yeah, so how to navigate conflicts in your scientific organization, where like, for example, I'm now like a science administrator, like would that be someone higher up at the university that I would learn from and learn about those positions? So you can see that like when we think of like mentors and your network, like there is a whole bunch of different ways that people can support you, that you can get help, with your life, whether it's professional or personal. And let me see. Oh, there's a poll. So in the chat, because I haven't figured out the poll, is why don't you like, which ones are you really like, look at the people that you have written down, and I'm sure maybe as we gone through this map, you might have thought more people to fill in, these different pieces. Like which categories are you sure about? Which ones are you like, have filled in and no problem, and I got this covered in my life and I'm good? Which ones are pretty easy?
Can you put the categories back up, Christine?
Oh yeah, sorry. Here are the categories. So yeah. And anyone? See, if we're in a room, I would make sure. Oh, very good. Electoral, yeah. And with this community, it's often easy to find or easy to identify your your potential collaborators and people that you're working with. Yeah. And yeah, the ones for unsure, sponsorship is always number one on the list of what people are unsure about. And that's a hard one, and we'll talk about that one. Anyone else? Awesome. Emotional and intellectual, great. Intellectual community, super. Intellectual community. Oh, we can talk about that too. And safe space and intellectual community role models, right on. Right on. And then again, the sponsorship one always comes out highest, and that what people are most unsure about. And we'll talk about that. Now let's see. And then the other thing is, and I'll put that back up, is like, look at the people that you wrote down at the beginning, and then try to figure out where they fit on this map, right? So yeah, and where they would fit. And you know, and then as you do that, think about, is there one person that fits like multiple roles? You know, am I using this person in so many different ways? And are there opportunities to add additional people in certain roles? Are there gaps in my map? Like, are there gaps like where I don't have people to put these roles in? So yeah, so this is just where you start thinking strategically about who I have in my network, who is supporting me, and where my gaps are. And then, yeah, so which categories do you have few or no people in? And then which categories do, like, or is there one person where I have a couple people that fill like 5 different roles, and I know I overuse them, but too bad. They know it too. So I try to spread out, try not to, you know, recognize when I'm overusing people or not. Because the next step is we want to think about how to go about filling in the gaps, right? So we'll go through this list again and talk about how we find the people to fill in the holes. So the first is sponsorship. And again, like, it's really hard to know who is advocating for you behind closed doors. And you can always ask, like, hey, can you think of me when you go into this conversation, because I want to raise, right? Or hey, I understand that this field campaign is coming up. Can you think of me if there's a need for someone with my skill set to participate? Or, oh, I see that there's a proposal going on out. Could you think of me, or, you know, or can I be included, right? So sometimes it's really hard to ask. For example, I was just talking to someone about their promotion package the other day, and I was like, you need to get good letters. It's really important that you get good letters. And that person was pretty uncomfortable about directly like, no problem asking, you know, could you write me a recommendation letter, but to make sure that it's going to be a good letter and a really strong super letter. So he actually asked me to reach out to these people to make sure that the letters will be good. And I'm in a role as their supervisor to be able to do that. So, you know, you can always ask an intermediary to push that sponsorship. You know, and yeah, and then there's other ways that, like, you can put yourself in front of people and show them that you're, you know, you can ask to, like, can I give a seminar or give a talk to show off my cool stuff? And then they can see how awesome you are. And then they'll think of you, you know, if other opportunities come through. One of the things that, you know, for particularly early career scientists, I often encourage them to reach out to editors to review papers, also to program officers for different funding agencies to review proposals, because one, they love additional reviewers, always are in need of reviewers. And then you show that you're enthusiastic, you're interested, and then this is a person that now will come to their mind when future opportunities come out. Particularly, like, editors are often more senior in the field and, you know, have more networking. And then by showing them that you're a good reviewer or you're a good participant, then there might be opportunities down the road to ask. So, and again, so think of ways to put yourself in front of people, you know, and show them, you know, that you can do well, that, you know, and then you can always ask a mediator or like someone in the middle, you know, like someone also recently wanted a raise. This is not for our organization, but for another, but I came in and just pinged their supervisor about it, you know, as a third party, you know, to kind of help advocate for them offline. So yeah, and sometimes it's hard to ask and people are uncomfortable, but yeah, I'm happy, you know, you can always practice and you can always use a friend, grab a buddy. That's always a good thing too. Any questions, comments, concerns about sponsorship? And we can always come back. If you think of things, please let me know. Oh yeah, and Becca just put being a sponsor is helpful too. At the end, like I want to reinforce that this is, all of these things are two-way streets. You can think of ways that people help you, but you are also available to be, you know, and act in these roles for anyone else. And so think of people that you can do and be their sponsor or be their other support as well. Okay, access to opportunities. These, you know, might not necessarily be a person, but might be a mailing list, or it might be a resource on campus, or, you know, a meetup group. There's so many opportunities now with everything online. It's even more, but you might find that there's a couple people out there that just seem to know about everything, seem to always be like kind of the information person. I'm a hub. Like if any of you on this call ever like have questions about like what's good job lists, or where do I get professional development, or that's something that like I definitely am one of those people. And if I don't know it, I know how to connect to others. So find those people in your network that you know, and who can provide that information. And remember, like you can be that hub too. You can provide, like Beck just shared that website, and then we can share it with a whole bunch of other people and get that information out. Yeah, but there's so many different ways to get access to information these days, and take advantage of your peers at work, take advantage of, you know, your organizations, take advantage of all the stuff that's out there beyond our organizations. Like I said, meetups are really, they used to be in person. I don't know what meetups are doing anymore, but like, you want to know about, like, I don't know, there's like all this Python like groups across Boulder that they get together and talk about programming. And I didn't know anything about programming. I was just curious. So I showed up to a couple of those and met people who knew things. So yeah. And again, if you're uncomfortable to do it in person, again, there's all this online activity, etc. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Okay. Accountability. Like I said, I use this all the time, and this can be, for example, with your writing, like you have to write a paper. It is one thing that always gets pushed to the side because all these other things always come up. And that's a big thing. And that's where the Carrie Rockamore's program comes in. It really has all these different mechanisms to help you keep on track with a certain project, and particularly with writing projects. For example, with the writing, you can have a writing group that you once a week you go and sit down and everyone has to write. Or when we first did this, a workshop with Carrie Ann in 2011, I met two other women in Boulder who were scientists, but not in my field. And we have now for over 10 years met every single Monday, or almost every Monday. And really, we talked for half an hour. What did you do last week? Did you do what you said you were going to do? If not, why not? And if so, great job. And what are you going to do this week? And so, and it's just a continual accountability to keep our projects. It used to be just writing, but now I have so many other projects that it's turned into a little bit bigger. Workout buddies, like I have a coach that can make sure that I work out, you know, and these can be a friend. You can pay for all this too. For example, and then I have a therapist, and I think she's one of my accountability pieces. She really holds me accountable for, you know, what I do in my relationships. And, you know, for example, with parenting, she helps me with parenting to make sure that I'm not always the biggest pushover like I normally am. And so, you know, there's all different ways to get accountability in your life. And, you know, some people do really well with it and some people don't, but I use it in, like, with my health, with my emotional health, with my work, everywhere. The next one is role models. And again, these don't have to be people that you know personally. These can just be people that you see in life and, like, you know, anywhere that, again, have behaviors, do things that you want to emulate or you think are super great, right? And so think, you know, again, like I have a friend who makes the most amazing figures for her papers, and I try to emulate her. You know, I really admire that. And then yeah, I know two women that I've looked up to and just seen how they've advanced in their careers in terms of taking on leadership and administrative roles, and watching how they interact and seeing how they manage their roles. And I look up to them and try to emulate some of the things that they do. And there's all sorts of opportunities to find role models out there. Yeah, so just, so I know, Christina, you said not sure about role models, but, and you don't have to have any, but I'm sure there's people out there that you might admire or have some kind of aspect that you might want to learn from, and also people could be role models that have behaviors that you don't want. And you'd be like, oh, I'm not going to be like that. Or I don't like how that situation was dealt with, and so I will not do it that way. Okay, safe space. These are people, again, that you can trust. Be careful, you know, you might not want to go to your office mate and vent about your boss or your project manager, or, you know, without fully trusting that they won't go off and communicate that. But think about, like, who will keep things private, who will get all mad for you, right? Like, you know, this happened to me the other day. Like, my friend, yeah, she was, the work that she had, they really screwed her over with her contract, and they had promised her a position, and then HR came back and said that she has to move to DC, all this stuff. And, like, yeah, and she just wanted to vent, and I could just be there to be like, that completely sucks. And I understand, you know, like, you know, so, yeah, who can be outraged on your behalf, and who might, like, be able to step in and help mediate for you, right? If there's a certain situation that's really challenging or upsetting. So, yeah, consider people who are removed from the situation, maybe not someone directly, you know, if you have a conflict, someone who's not directly involved in the conflict, but someone who can listen to it objectively and provide you some clear guidance and help too. Your intellectual community, these are people like in your group at work. These are people that you write papers with. These are other scientists or other people that you might work with on certain projects. They are collaborators and colleagues. They can be peers, they can be more senior people. These can be anyone that you might want to talk about a project or certain anything. But one thing you can think about is, you know, who you might go to with an idea that's like only 25% hashed out. Like, oh, is this like a total, like, you know, or here's a really rough outline of my paper. You might go to one set of people, whereas when you have a fully fleshed out idea, like here's a final paper, I might give it to this person that might be more senior, that you don't want to waste their time showing them a bunch of earlier work that needs, you know, a lot of help. So just think about who you might want to talk to about your work at different stages. And yeah, and then again, like we'll say this again and again, offer to be this, you know, person, like to support your other friends, like, oh yeah, I'll read your proposal, or do you have an idea for a paper? Sure, I'll check out the outline, or oh, that experiment sounds really stupid, or you know, or yeah, I'll help you with the reviews on your paper or proposal, something like that. Okay, I'm going and I'm talking a lot, so I hope this is okay for everyone. Yeah, so emotional support, and I can't stress this enough. Your emotional support is as, you know, important as your physical health, as your career. If you are not emotionally supported and doing well mentally, it doesn't work. And I know this personally, I suffer from depression, I suffer from anxiety. And so I think it's really important to make sure you address that, or else, you know, other components of your life will not be as successful. And you can get emotional support from your family, from your friends. I really want to emphasize using professionals. I find that the scientific community is particularly harsh. You know, we're completely criticized all the time. We're often like exposed to failure a lot, you know, a lot of frustration, a lot of challenge. You know, we work with a community that, you know, is focused on the science and not necessarily has all these other interpersonal skills. It can be a really challenging career to choose, I guess, and path. And so we have amazing resources out there. If you work for the university, we do have what's called, the Faculty Assistance Program. You have free access to mental health professionals each year. And so I really encourage you, if you need to reach out and take advantage of that. There are online mechanisms, there are in-person mechanisms, but like I really want to emphasize the importance of mental health, and take a look at like Nature and Science lately. They've actually been like publishing a lot about mental health, particularly with early careers, but I think it's throughout our entire career, just about the stress and some of the challenges that we in the scientific community face, and really that the mental health component should not be ignored. So yeah, I don't know, I like to emphasize that one because I really I don't think it gets talked about enough, but I think it's really important. Okay. So the next one is professional development. These are people who can provide you opportunities to, you know, and access to professional development training. You have your university. We have at CU, we have tons of professional development activities and opportunities and trainings. For those of you who don't know, CIRES, as of like a year or two ago, we put aside a separate pot of money to support people to be able to pursue professional development classes through CU. So if you are interested, let me know. It's through HR. You can just request, hey, I'd like to take this class, and we can provide the funds and the opportunity for you to do that. There's other professional opportunities, development opportunities, like, you know, I know our Earth Science Women's Network does several workshops at the American Geophysical Union fall meeting, and also AMS now, where we do trainings on like how to write a proposal and how to navigate NSF, or careers outside of academics, and how to find and pursue careers outside of academics, and how to be successful on the tenure track. We've done how to, you know, what's about publishing. And actually, we're about to do a whole bunch of web series in partnership with Elsevier about jobs and publishing and editing and reviewing. So I encourage you to keep an eye out for that. Yeah, there's online resources. I mean, there's things like Toastmasters that can teach you how to, give better talks and public speaking. So there's opportunities within our organization. There's opportunities out there in the world. There's so much on YouTube. There's so much on LinkedIn. We have Coursera courses. We have access to so much these days, and CU has free access to all the LinkedIn and Lynda classes. Again, if you want any help navigating that, I'm happy to help go through. It's pretty amazing, the resources that we have. The only problem I have is selecting what I want to work on next and what I can dedicate my time to. But yes. Yeah, and again, like, these are going to evolve as you're in different stages of your career or in different roles and have different responsibilities. Oh, and they can even be like software development. Like, again, like, I go back to Python. I really want to learn Python, and I'm too old, but you can take skill building classes. Anyway, and then the last one is substantive feedback. Often it's a person more senior in CIRES. Oh, thank you, Mary Jo. I feel too old. Finding a senior person in your field, someone who's in a role that you might be interested in. There is a formal mentoring program that got set up 2 years ago by the CIRES Members Council in CIRES. There'll actually be a call in the next month or two for partner pairs. If you want to join that program, keep an eye out for that. It's a really good way to connect with people across the organization and really, learn more, meet new people, have more formal mentoring. In the past, sometimes it's hard to find like, a more senior person that like you don't know very well. One of the things I've done in the past is I've just taken out this person, asked them to go for coffee for half an hour and just say, I'm interested in learning about your position, and this is specifically what I want. A lot of times in these formal roles, it's really good to set up kind of a framework at the very beginning, like, oh, I'd like to meet with you once a month for half an hour. I'd like to focus on this particular issue, and maybe we could do this for 6 months. And that seems very reasonable. And remember, when you are a mentee in this kind of relationship, you actually also give back to the mentor. So it really is a two-way avenue, even though it might not feel like it at the time, but it really is. Yeah. I guess I don't know if I have any more about that, but feel free to add or yeah, or suggest. So a couple things, and this is why I said, like, this is not just for early careers. This is for anyone at any career stage, like, thinking about this is, one, like, your map is going to continually evolve. People are going to fall off and people are going to come on, and you're going to find that maybe you have more needs in a certain area at one point in time, and that's going to switch over here during another part. So it's always evolving, and that's why I really think it's really good to revisit this every so often to see where you are, to get the support that you're needing, and to really help you get to the next stage of wherever you want to be. Again, remember, individuals may provide more than one type of support. Like I said, I have a couple people that fill multiple roles, and that's fine. And be careful about overusing people. Just be conscientious about that. But I guess the biggest thing, and I'll get to the next thing, like, it's okay to be strategic about this. It's okay to be thoughtful, to like get what you need to be as successful as you can be in your life. And I think it's really important to remember to be proactive. We are all so busy, and so we can't expect others to be watching out for us necessarily. And it's often really important for us to go out and get or ask for what we need, because it's not that people don't care about us or people don't want to. It's that people have other stuff going in their lives. And yeah, so again, be strategic. It's amazing how impactful it can be, and it's okay. like, don't feel bad about it. I used to think like, oh, I don't, people will just come and it'll just happen. And yeah, don't go for it. So again, these are kind of Miriam's final points. Finding mentoring is possible, but like it's really, but yeah, go and find and build your network. And you might find additional places like or needs that you have. This is just the roles that we came up with for this particular workshop, but there might be other ways that you need to be supported that aren't on that list. And again, like, so it's not like you have one mentor. We have a whole community of mentors that are supporting you. And the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And again, you can find mentoring everywhere, like, and not just at work or not just at home with your family. It can be anywhere and everywhere. And again, like with this online world, particularly in the last year because of COVID, like I feel like there's been even more opportunities to reach out. I gave this talk to the rec students the other day. There are the community college students that are doing internships across CIRES this summer. And one of them had like amazing ideas for like how to connect with like other faculty. They're like, oh, go, like so many faculty have talks online and like YouTube videos and blogs, go read them and then follow up with them, because, if you take the time to read and see what they're doing, they're going to be really more receptive to talk and, have a conversation and start a relationship. Yeah, like it's yeah. And then follow someone on Twitter, if you want, like there's someone that you want to connect with. There's so many ways to connect with people these days. And I think social media actually makes it easier, particularly those who are less inclined to do it in person. Yeah. And if it is hard for you to make connections, get a buddy, find one of your connections that is an outgoing person that can help make the connections and do some networking and for you and help bring people in. Use your friends. And again, like networking is not a one-way street. Remember, this is like, you can serve in these roles for other people. So just think about that as you're filling your map, like, oh, actually, I'm this person, I serve this role for these people. And again, even with like traditional mentoring relationships, it really is a two-way street. It's not just all one from the mentor to mentee. Yeah. And Rebecca just said, I learned so much from the students too. Yeah, like actually they're brilliant and they know so many more things than I do. And they had so many great ideas for how to reach out. And, particularly as grad student or like students coming in and wanting to connect with, potential grad advisors or get into departments, at the university level, there's so many great ways that you can do this. So, yeah. And the other thing that I, want to emphasize here, and one of the important things about the Earth Science Women's Network is that take advantage of your peers along the way. I really attribute like a lot of my career success and really happiness and where I am today through my friends and peers that I've made a way through that network, just in like getting feedback, getting help, getting the support that I need. So peer mentoring is huge and really valuable. And yeah, so I really recommend you take advantage of your peers and build your network there. So I think that's it. Again, Beck just shared Miriam's website in the chat, and I have these handouts. So and I have these slides, and I'm happy to share them with anyone and everyone. Yeah, and again, I think this is good to revisit as well. So don't forget to redo this next year and the year after. So that's all I have. I appreciate you all listening to me. Hopefully next time we can do this in person so that, or at least hybrid. So see you all and see your faces, but yes, but thank you all for coming. And thank you for paying attention. And let me know if you have any questions, comments. And here, I was going to say, for those of you who don't know it, this is my email. Feel free to reach out anytime. And, with any other feedback or follow-up or questions or wanting to connect. Yes. So.
Yes, we have recorded it. I will send out the slides. Christine sent me the handouts. We'll get these extra slides as well to everybody who's registered, and we'll get them the recording up on our website as soon as we can.
Yeah, and thank you all. It was nice to meet some of you too. So.
Thanks so much, Christine. Really appreciate it. If anyone has questions, feel free just to unmute yourself and speak up.
Yeah, next time I'll make you all go into breakout groups and talk to one another.
I was just going to say that I was part of mentoring program at the at CIRES, and it's wonderful. I just highly recommend it. I've been mentor, and as Christine said, that you actually gain a lot from these interactions. It makes you think sometimes about your own successes and less successes, and then just a way of listening and hearing other people going through some similar experience, and then all of a sudden say like, I think I know how I would solve it, although you don't tell them how you solve it. You just have to kind of get them into that position where they're like, oh, eureka.
Well,
that works.
Yeah, what's great about the mentoring program is they've already developed like a bunch of training to help mentors be better mentors. And so again, like there's a lot of support for that program, I think. And it's, from what I've heard, it's really great. So yeah.
Hey, Christine.
Hi,
Brandy here. Thank you so much. It's always helpful, and I think I've seen this presentation before, or at least that slide before. Thank you. I guess I feel like it's really easy to find fellow women mentors. At least maybe easier for me. And maybe that's just because, that's who I gravitate to, and, women are easier for most people, not just women, to talk to. So how, and not only just, men, maybe I would like a mentor, or maybe that would be helpful in, bringing women up, but how do we meet others, like other, races of people, or other, that can help us not only lift ourselves, but maybe lift them too, in this whole, I just feel like there's, and maybe this is just me, there's a missing piece where I kind of hit a wee bit of a brick wall when I, talk to the more senior men, some of them, right? And maybe there's just not enough of them that are willing or open to mentoring.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Those are really good points, Brandon. I'm like kind of hearing two. One, including a diverse community in your mentoring NAP. And honestly, that is a challenge. Our fields are lacking diversity. For our women's network, we actually went out and identified specific people to help increase the diversity and get different inputs. One challenge is that a lot of these people are overtaxed,
Right.
overused. So you do have to be conscientious of that. But then they also have diverse communities, also have communities of their own, and can also provide other names and connections. So it keeps on. I think you have to be more proactive. And then as for senior men, we have a lot of them, particularly at NOAA. Yeah, it's, I don't know, you have to go and seek them out. It takes a little, seek out the more diverse senior people, and maybe they're not in your lab or in your direct organization. And you know, and that's where you talk to other people like Brandy, if you're interested in like, how do I, you know, navigate something at NOAA that might be OAR specific, you know, and it might not be in our DSRC labs, but maybe people know of other people in Silver Springs or at GFDL or some of the other labs that you could get connected with that, you know, and again, it maybe just takes an email to this person like, hey, I'm really interested in learning about X. Could I have your time for 30 minutes to talk and feel out what you might get from that. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just agreeing with you that I feel like the ones that are willing to mentor are really taxed.
Yeah.
Right. And the minoritized people, types of people are also really taxed, the ones that are willing to take us on, right?
Yeah. And yeah, Beck has some good ideas in the chat too. It's a challenge, it really is. But what's really awesome too is again, like taking advantage of your peers, because like I look back, like those of us who all connected in, you know, 20 years ago, people are like, we're an amazing group of people. Like it's insane where people are and who they are. And again, like I was pretty strategic or intentional about having a diverse group of people in my network. And again, looking at where these people are now, it's amazing, and they provide different perspectives even now than they did 15 years ago. So again, use your peers as well as the senior people, and a lot of times you have to do, you know, people like less senior can really offer some really valuable insights. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Brandy. And I need to follow up with you too, so I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anything else? And I really encourage anyone to email me afterwards and reach out if you have anything else to say or comment, or just, or if you have any suggestions, like for example, what Brandy just asked, I'd love to hear if anyone else has any other suggestions or ideas. So.
I don't really have a suggestion or idea, just like maybe it's just another problem, but I guess I mean, people are so busy, and then it seems like it does take time to cultivate relationships or to figure it out. It's not like you can set up a contract and say, okay, want to be a mentor, and these are my requirements. I mean, it takes time, and then over that time you realize, you know, the relationship isn't going to hold out.
Yeah, and that happens a lot, and it does. I mean, I can't express the importance of cultivating relationships. You know, it is so important, and it does take time. It does take effort, but it is, I think, at least for career and personally, it's really important to, you know, at least set aside some time dedicated to that. And there's a lot of times where those relationships just don't hold, and that's okay. I've been in 2 professional mentoring relationships, both at NCAR, where they tried to have a formal mentoring, and like I didn't last for more than a little bit because I didn't connect with the people personally. And you know, they provided some information that was useful, and then I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna waste my time, and I don't want to waste their time, you know. So it takes time, it takes some feeling out, and don't feel bad when relationships don't happen, and people don't reach out. That's what I told the students the other week too, is like, they're like, well, say the professor doesn't get back to me and stuff. I'm like, everyone's busy, go to the next one, right? Like, you just kind of got to keep on going until you hit the right spot, I guess. So yeah. And that's why it's important to go to like conferences and, you know, feel people out and see where things click and where they don't. And again, there might be like a really successful relationship for a while and then it's done, right? You know, and that's what's nice about the formal mentoring programs like that we have at CIRES. It's like, this is a 1-year thing. Here's your contract. And they do have contracts, right? And then it's done. And there are professional organizations that provide that kind of thing. Like I just found one, it was called Elevate, and it's for women like executives in different industries, not academics. And so through that, I've made a few connections, and I didn't click with a lot of people, and I felt really awkward at one event. But, you know, it's worth a try to see, you know, kind of feel out what would be available to me and what not, you know. And there is someone that I hold as a really big role model, like that I think really highly of, and I know how busy that person is, like, because yeah. And so I've been really conscientious to like not bother her unless I have a specific ask and like something constrained that won't like go off on a tangent. And then I'm trying to cultivate that relationship through like really small specific things. So eventually, yeah, it'll grow. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Experiment. Don't feel bad if it doesn't work out. Don't feel bad if people don't respond, and then you can just come back or, you know, keep going down the list. But remember that like when people reach out to you, yeah, how you want to be treated, or yeah. So it's hard and it's time consuming and takes effort. But
I wonder if you give them an opportunity to give a presentation at your university. Like they would probably like to start that way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, come and do that. Yeah.
And that's a great point. Like you want to make connections with certain people. Yeah. Invite them to give a talk, invite them to give a guest lecture, invite them to your research team meeting to hear what you're doing. Yeah. Something that they get value out of, as well as vice versa. Or like you want to get yourself in front of a department and, you know, say, hey, I'm available to come and give a seminar if you'd like, or, you know, because, and especially if people don't like, it's always nice to learn about new people in your community and things like that. So yeah. And yeah, or hey, I'd be available to give a guest lecture in your class, or, you know, things like that too. And yeah.
We are at the top of the hour. Thank you all for attending. Christine, thanks for all your excellent insight. We've learned a lot from you. And we will be announcing the next series of the series, Braided River Professional Career Development Series, in the coming months. So look out for those too.
Yeah, thank you, Beck, for organizing the series. Again, another professional development resource. Right on. Well, you all have a lovely afternoon. It was nice to see you all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.